What's going on, Jets Nation? Been in the forums a lot lately. YouTube comments, all that good stuff for some of my particular favorites. Green Bean, Jet Central, of course, and a few others. But I've seen a lot of different takes on the Marcus Maye situation, and I think as one of the newer age Jet fans, kind of 30 and under. I think there's a lot of things that we're kind of overlooking with the whole absence of a new contract for him. Um, I think one of the biggest misses for sure is the fact that at this point we haven't successfully re-signed anybody that we've drafted and been able to develop and get to perform on our own in quite a bit. Um, so that's definitely disappointing. Now, taking a look at it from a realistic standpoint, Marcus May, he's basically 30 in a year, turning 29, I believe, by the time the next season, after the one coming up, comes around. Um, we'd have to assume it's probably like at least a 4 year extension, right? 2, 3 years of guaranteed money. So that puts him at 31, assuming we get high end production or at least above average production out of him. The struggle is that, on one hand, I get it from a number standpoint, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense whatsoever. Um, but I think if we're talking about like the ethos of the whole situation, emotionally, being connected to players and things, which there's very so few that we actually get within recent times for us. Muhammad Wilkerson was the last one I can remember outside of Jamal Adams where I was like, this guy legitimately brings me hope on Sundays. I like to watch him. I want him to get his sack numbers up, or in Jamal Adams' case, his sack numbers, his interceptions, which never really materialized. But Marcus Maye being the kind of do it all. Um, Standard pro for us. I like the fact that he's not really a diva player either. He lets his play do the talking. We don't really hear a lot from him, which I think is great. Um, Considering stuff like that, I think the boost that we would have had from a team standpoint may have technically outweighed giving a contract to an older player, especially that Joe Douglas himself didn't draft. Um, I think that's a huge point. We know that GMs want their own guys, but Marcus May is one of those people. I think from a locker room perspective, he blends in with whatever culture people are looking to establish. That tends to promote success. Um, I'm a bit disappointed in a contract not materializing there, but ultimately I understand it. I think for us, what will essentially happen is Makai Becton will ultimately probably be like the first person that gets an extension from us, right? Maybe one of the third or fourth round guys if they materialize. Lamichael P. Ryan. Those are all essentially Adams guys. I don't think they'll necessarily fit the mold of what we're doing looking forward. I think he has some like goal line options and stuff like that for him. He's just more so the power back than anybody else is on the roster in terms of skill set. That's essentially what he offers us. Um, but Marcus May can really do a lot of things for us. We know that we can have him switch both safety positions. I think in a crunch, he could probably actually even play some slot corner. I'm not fully sure. I know I was able to watch a handful of games the last 2 seasons. I think he stands out a bit as a man coverage safety for sure. So I think that would have been an option. But anyways, to get back to the point, ultimately I think Joe Douglas will essentially re-sign the people that he drafted um, through the actual draft or brought in through free agency first. It's unfortunate, but I was kind of thinking it's almost Patriot, almost Patriot like. As bad as I don't want to reference them, and it's kind of Belichickian almost. Um, I was just thinking about the way he's setting up the roster, and he really does have those hard cutoff points where if the values aren't matching up with what they forecasted, maybe what his gut feeling is after reviewing stats and stuff like that. he's just not going to do it. It doesn't really matter what the feeling is. So unless we have, a Tom Brady or, like a JJ Watt or somebody, and we've even seen him get traded, I can't really imagine Joe Douglas making exceptions there, especially so early in what really is his final, him actually starting his final vision for the team. I'm definitely wishing Marcus Maye all the success this season. Worst case scenario, we lose him in free agency. Maybe we recoup a third round pick. Um, Joe Douglas seems like when capable, he'll try to do the right thing. Getting Sam Darnold to Carolina. Maybe the same thing will happen with Marcus Maye. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But ultimately, I'm not mad at it. If we end up having success, then in the future, we'll have players that are willing to kind of stay probably within whatever confines of average salary per year that Joe Douglas might be looking at because they know we'll be winning. That's a lot of what we seen the Patriots' success bound on after they, got those first few Super Bowls out of the way and then just kind of habitually made a habit of making the playoffs. So I'm hoping that we kind of go into that same mold, maybe not as strict as the Patriots, because I do think while they found a lot of gems and had a few stars that were willing to take pay cuts, I don't think they found a lot more of those kind of middle tier players that probably could have excelled even more than the lower tier ones that progressed quickly. Um, with that said, though, I think that kind of covers most of the thought process that I had around Marcus Maye. Let me know what you guys think. I know personally, I would love to have seen him resign, as long as it wasn't something crazy like a 5-year contract, which I can't see really being done. Um, I think it would have been justice. It would have been nice to just see somebody in green and white that's having success stay with the team and then continue to have success, because I really do think it's going to be a strong season for him coming up. But again, let me know your thoughts. I'm not sure how often I'll be running through, posting videos of this sort, but if you guys like the thoughts, the ideas, I've always had a lot of content kind of floating around that I have. So I can definitely more than likely speak on those. But with that said, I hope you guys have a good night and go Gang Green.